Welcome to the Newtown Big Dreams podcast, an interview-style talk show that's your gateway to the fabulous and fascinating people who relocated to start a new life. Whether you're new to our podcast or your city, our fellow neighbors from across Canada, North America, and the entire English-speaking world share their stories of reaching new horizons and big dreams. So sit back and relax as we navigate in-depth and intimate conversations with entrepreneurs, thought leaders, executives, creatives, and anyone who can share their story about their Newtown big dreams. And now, here's your host, Luke J. Menkes.
Good morning. Today, I am joined by our newest guest, Tracy Brinkman. And Tracy is coming to us from Wisconsin. He's gone from hitting the rock bottom of drugs, divorce, bankruptcy, and even the death of an 18-month-old daughter to running the planning and marketing of some of corporate America's finest companies, to running his own company, helping business owners be seen. And Tracy's podcast is focused on driven entrepreneurs. He is a business and success coach that realizes life isn't fair and participation awards do not feed your family or your drive to succeed. This driven dark horse entrepreneur is looking to share all that he has learned and is still learning about starting, restarting, kickstarting, and stepping up your entrepreneurial game, all while not ignoring that amazing tool between your ears. So Tracy, welcome to the show this morning.
Luke, thanks so much for having me aboard. How are you doing this fine, crisp morning?
I'm doing well. It's still dark here where I am. It's 5 a.m. Pacific, but my coffee maker is giving me trouble.
Oh, that's never a good start.
Had to stab the top of the pod to get the water through, and now I've got coffee grounds in my coffee, so it tastes okay, but I've got those grounds in there.
You got to take those slow sips now.
Right? Yeah, so you've got a really fascinating story, Tracy. Maybe tell us a little bit about your podcast first and why you got started with that.
Absolutely. The Dark Horse Entrepreneur, I'll start with the name. I picked the name because I know throughout my life I've always felt at one time or another like the dark horse. And for me, a dark horse is that person that believes in themselves. They're like, I know I can do this. But the people around them are like, are you sure you want to do this? You know, you might get your heart broke. You might lose your money. And usually, I think they're well-intentioned. They don't want you to go through the pain of failure and loss and what have you. So they're trying to, quote unquote, look out for you. But they don't realize you have this thing inside you that you need to let out. And those dark horses are those folks that they know if they get to the gate and they hear that starting bell and they run their race, that they'll probably finish, win, place, or show. And if they don't, that's fine. They're still learning in the process. So I bring folks on much like you do. And I have an interview episode every Monday where we bring someone on and hear their story, and then they'll drop some knowledge that we want to share with the folks. And then I also do little shorter episodes Tuesday through Friday that tend to build on whatever the topic is. Like a couple of weeks ago, I had Colonel Carla Bass on, and she built a career on teaching people how to write powerfully. And so it was an awesome episode. So the rest of the week, I did little short episodes that were like, hey, here's how to write to convert, and here's how to write emails, and here's how to create a space in your environment so that writing comes more easily. So all these little nuggets that people can take away from. So that Dark Horse Entrepreneur is trying to help us folks out there that feel like the world is set against us, and give you little nuggets of information to make it a little easier to win.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing that?
This particular podcast, I only started in July of 2020. However, I've been podcasting. Well, I started podcasting back in 2009, back when, podcasting wasn't cool on things like, I believe it was called Blog Talk Radio. And then I got a little traction there. And then I started a personal development blog that ran for a couple of years, and it did pretty decent. It got good download numbers. And That one I did a different business model. I had a Monday episode, and these were all like 15 minutes or less, little power hits. And then on Monday's episode, I would tease the rest of the week. But to get to rest of the week episodes, you had to come to the website, sign up for a membership, which was like $9 a month. And, we got, I don't know, I think it was like 90,000 downloads over 2.5 years. So it didn't do too bad. But, I got to a point in my life where life was throwing me a poop pie, and I didn't feel in alignment getting on the microphone saying, hey, here's what you need to do to have an awesome life. Meanwhile, my life is falling apart. So I hung up the mic for a little while I got myself back organized and relaunched things a little differently last year, like I mentioned.
Yeah. I'd like to talk a little bit about some of these things that happened to you.
Sure.
I don't want to spend too much time on it. But do you feel it was like choices that you made that caused this, or just bad luck, and how did you get out of it?
The first one, the drug scene in Southern California, that was obviously a choice because nobody forced any of that powder up my nose, right? But I came out of the military and started a computer programming and consulting business in Southern California right at the verge of the dot-com boom. So, things were really easy. And unfortunately, that put, cash in my pocket for the first time in my early life. And, being in Southern California, there were lots and lots of temptations. And I chose to partake. And, that led to that company kind of getting less and less attention. And I used my skills in other ways and started, selling to support my habit. So that one was pure choice. And how I got out of that was really, I'm going to say it was because of my daughter, because about 2.5 years into this misadventure, the police literally kicked in the door to my condo. I was getting on their radar from the activities that I was doing, and they took me in and questioned me for a few hours, and they knew way more than I thought they knew, and it was a bit of an epiphany moment. And if it had been just me, I may have made a different choice. I may have been like, oh yeah, I can stay one step ahead of these guys, no problem. But I had a 3-month-old daughter at the time, and I was lucky enough to grow up with a dad that, pretty much emphasized family first. So as I was walking back home from the precinct, I was thinking about what happens if this doesn't go well. My daughter is, her dad's in prison or whatever. So, I got back to the condo and called mom and dad up, and I said, I need help and I need to talk to you. And I went and literally almost on my knees groveled for, the assistance to, pull my life back together.
Mm-hmm. And they were willing to help you right away?
Yeah, my parents are a couple of amazing folks, and they're like, yeah, I'd always, not that this is a shining moment, I'd always shown them respect and never brought anything into their life, into their home, but they knew, they never asked the questions, but right? And someone close in your inner circle is doing sketchy things, you kind of know, right? But yeah, they were very willing to help, and I went cold turkey. I didn't go to a rehab. I pretty much slept it off, and while my mom took care of my daughter for a couple of weeks, and just finally got back up and started reintroducing myself to the workplace.
Mm-hmm. So divorce, bankruptcy, did that stem from the drug use?
No, that was a completely different adventure. And so, later on in life, as my corporate career started doing well, there was my 18-month-old daughter who was born, and she had a distended abdomen, and she went through like 6 major operations in the first 3 months of her life. And she finally got her stabilized, and she was, had to get on the organ transplant list. And, that kind of introduced me to my speaking career that started because I was telling anybody who would listen, and probably a few people that didn't want to listen, about the benefits of being an organ donor. And long story short, Krista didn't last past 18 months. And obviously took a big dent into the relationship. Tried to make it work for, oh gosh, I'll say another 10, 15 years after that. And it was finally one of those moments in life where you're like, you know what? We are clearly going in two separate routes. I mean, we probably have this, you can make the same connection with customers, right? You as a business might be going more to the left and your customer is going more to the right, or vice versa. It happens with people in relationships, and I think sometimes we hold on to them a little too tight. We say, I can fix this, and the only person you can really fix is yourself. And so it got pretty ugly for a few years, and it was finally, all right, this is it. I'm not taking this anymore. I am worthy of more. And I stepped up and, pretty much just owned it.
Yeah. Did you have any other children?
Yeah, I have had a total of 3 children over the year. And then with my new wife, we have a beautiful 18-year-old. She just turned 18 2 days ago. Wow. Daughter, but all daughters all across the board.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm same. I've got 2 stepdaughters and 2 daughters. So that's something. So how about the bankruptcy? That's the last negative thing you mentioned.
That was wrapped up inside the divorce. My ex-wife had a number of medical issues, and she actually, as a result of that, she went through a couple of spinal surgeries and got hooked on oxycodone. And so between medical bills and rehab bills and just mental health professionals, the bills stacked up, and so that when the divorce came about, bankruptcy was a piece of that. So it was like all stacked up at the same time, right? All these crazy things, because right at the time the divorce started, one of my daughters had just turned 18, so now she's leaving and going forth and spreading her wings. So there's all the fun trauma that a parent goes through with that. Then there's the divorce, and then there's a stack of bankruptcy. Oh, and by the way, let's change jobs at the same time and move to another state. Okay, let's take all this on at the same time. You put that on your shoulders and say, I'm going forward. Well, I'm starting a business. I don't know.
Right. Why did you choose Wisconsin? Very different from Southern California.
It's what's funny is my dad was in the military, and I grew up all over the United States, and actually spent 6 years as a youth in Germany. And so I got to see a wide range of folks, and I really like the Midwestern attitude towards things. I think, not to hang any bad names anywhere, but I think California is a great place to visit. I couldn't live there anymore. And I had an opportunity to come up here and start working for this amazing small company that was doing some very niche products and run their planning and marketing. So that helped make that choice. And since we have separated, they have been since bought. I worked for them for 5-6 years, and they got bought out by a company that pulled them down to Orlando, Florida, and offered me the opportunity to come down there as well. And my wife and I are like, no, we love this area too much, so we're just staying right here.
Right. What part of the state are you in?
It's about 45, probably about 20, 30 minutes north of Milwaukee. So it's the southeastern part of the state. Just beautiful country. You're close enough to the city that, when the cool things like concerts happen, you can drive into the city, but you're far enough away that, all the craziness isn't impacting you as much.
Right. So speaking of small business, how does a small business owner get seen? What do you have to do?
I think there's a number of ways. Obviously, there's all the social media presences, but I think one of the big things for me that I've done is going live on Facebook. So I know a lot of small businesses don't do this. They rely on social media managers to put their posts up there and kind of share their message. One of the ways I've seen some great traction, especially in the past year with the COVID noise, is to go on and do a live. And I'm not talking about anything long. You get up there and drop a quick 1 or 2 minute piece of information, and then, move on with your day. And then, the next day, give them another piece of information, and they start to resonate with you. And I'm all about working with the folks you want to work with. And so people start to get to know you and your personality as a result of this, and they start to follow you. And then if your profiles are set up to push them to a specific location, i.e. A Facebook group, right? Then they can come in and learn more about you. So now as they enter your world of the Facebook group, they're already introduced to who you are and what it is you do, which makes any next steps you want to take them through a whole lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of this is about mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, you've gone through some extraordinarily difficult times. And I'm guessing it's really a change in mindset that led you to success after going through all that.
Yeah, it's been an ongoing, and yes, 100%. It's all about the mindset, but then it's all about the ongoing process. Because if I think back through what I call the three major dips in my life, obviously the first, the stepping away from the drug scene, obviously that was an aha moment, right? And your mindset, my mindset took a real kick to the head, because I could have just from a skill standpoint, I could have went right back out there and started doing computer programming, but my mind was like, you're not worthy, right? You just got finished slinging drugs to the populace of Southern California. You can't do that. And so I started doing things like day jobs, working in a warehouse, doing accounting, part-time, until I felt the pride coming back, and my mind says, okay, now you're ready. And that's when I put myself back out there and landed my first corporate America job with Coca-Cola. And then, when the death of my daughter comes, I went into a fear mindset of, okay, I know where my dark place is. I just came out of it a few years ago. How do I not go back there? And I threw myself into the personal development world to try and keep my mindset going in a positive direction. And then the third time with, as we were just talking about, the divorce and the bankruptcy, it's like, okay, now the mindset is, I'm even more worthy than what I have here. I need to break this relationship apart so that I can really step into who I am. So your mindset needs to keep evolving. It's not like a one-time thing.
Yeah. Is it something that you think people need to spend a little bit of time every single day on?
Yeah, and it can be just that. It can be just a little bit of time. I think for me, the process is, being positive, always finding the positive. And I don't want to sound all woo-woo and everything, because, trust me, I've looked back into the abyss of the silly, stupid, insert expletive here, mistakes I've made in the past. But I think there was a huge learning, because when you look back into your darkness, you can say, all right, here's what I can learn. I have an ability to connect with people. I just happen to connect with the wrong people in Southern California, right? But I still have that ability. So you can glean some, we'll call them silver linings out of those clouds. So now your mindset is, okay, well, I did that. That's not me. That was yesterday. I'm not doing that anymore. That kind of mindset. So if you try to find the positive, even the darkest of moments, then thumbs up. But I think you need to periodically step back and relook. So like once a week, like maybe on a Saturday morning after we're done here, I'll sit down and I'll just kind of think about, okay, here's some of the things I went through this week where I was like, I was pissed off or I was sad, and figure out why. And then just kind of think that through to say, okay, well, maybe next time that happens, here's a better way to react and what have you. So yeah, it's short little spurts to keep your head on straight. And then these quick little reviews of, man, I got really mad for no freaking reason. Sometimes I was just hungry and someone said something that triggered me, and that anger compounded with the trigger anger, you maybe do something silly, right?
Right. So it's becoming aware of like what triggers you and what makes you upset, what makes you excited, and all those things.
I think absolutely, when you're sitting there going through these review moments, you'll find those things that trigger you. And then I think if you take it one step further and say, okay, well, if this is triggering me to be happy or sad, maybe I need to alter that trigger, right? So why is it making me sad? Well, it's taking me back to a moment in time when. And if you can address that and bring it out into the open, then you can effectively, maybe not de-trigger it right away, but you can start to sand down the sharpness of that trigger, if that makes more sense.
Yeah, interesting. So what about reputation? So I guess it's fair to say, like, decades ago, you had a reputation for being a pretty effective drug dealer, drug consumer, right?
Both, yes.
But when it comes to business, reputation is so important, right?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things with this online space that has really burgeoned over the course of our lives. I think I'm probably just a little bit older than you, but you've probably seen how that has really changed over even the past decade. Your reputation, you spend a lifetime building it, and someone can come in with their 1-star commentary and trash you pretty publicly. And I think reputation is a huge thing to manage, and you want to manage it both from a positive and a negative perspective. And here's what I mean by that. We all want the 4 and 5-star ratings and the amazing reviews and the happy customers. I get that. But what about the one person where you gave your best effort and you just fell flat, man? If I think about a shirt, you sold them this really cool shirt and they get it and they're like, yeah, this is a cool shirt, but it doesn't fit. Well, okay, there's nothing I can do about that. It doesn't fit, And they go onto your website or Google, Yelp, or whatever, and they give you this 1-star review and this scathing commentary. I think the mistake many entrepreneurs make and small business owners is they don't respond to that, or they respond out of anger, right? That trigger. Hey, you don't even know what you're talking about. 87,000 people love my shirts. But I think you can certainly address it in a public manner and say, hey, we're very sorry for how the shirt didn't fit you. There are, many different body types. We try to address as many body types as possible with our apparel, and that kind of commentary is to diffuse the situation publicly and say, hey, we'll be happy to take the shirt back and give you a credit or give you a full refund, or if you'd like another product, we're happy to work with you. That type of thing. That way, when I, as a consumer, is combing through and I'm doing a little research, I see all the great reviews, and then I see this scathing review, and I see how you handle it. Then I, as a consumer, want to come to you and say, okay, if I'm not happy, you're still going to be willing to work with me.
Yeah, that's really interesting, for sure. Now, there are some people, I believe there are some people online that are just maybe a little bit crazy. And they're not going to be reasonable. So even if you make a good effort to say, hey, look, we'll take care of this for you, sorry you had that experience, they still want to bash you. Do you ever see that, and how do you deal with that?
Well, yeah,
it's rare. If you handle it correctly, it's pretty rare that a person keeps going, but I have seen it.
There are those, I think one of the key words is trolls that are out there. And I think they just get their jollies, poking the bear, for lack of a better phrase, right? And at some point, you just have to walk away. Like I said, you've done your due diligence and they come back with another scathing, whatever. If you get those, I would not continue to engage because, again, that's just poking the bear. And at some point, we're all human. We're going to end up typing something we probably shouldn't type, right? Yeah, definitely don't continue. You do your best effort, be professional, and be amenable to their pains. But know that there, like you said, there's some crazies that are just going to have to be walked away from.
Right. So Tracy, why should entrepreneurs stop trading hours for dollars? And how do they do that?
I think one of the big challenges let's talk about COVID here. I think over the course of the past, what was it, going on 13, 14 months now, we've seen an onslaught of folks going to the online space, out of necessity, right? Maybe they had their bricks and mortar business. Now they've flipped to an online space. And a lot of them are doing a lot of one-on-one engagement. And the challenge with a one-on-one engagement is we're all only given 24 hours a day. That's it. And unfortunately, you have to eat and sleep during some of them, right? So there's a ceiling that you're going to reach there. And then obviously you can switch that to a group environment where now you've got 4 or 5 people at a time and charge appropriately for that. But I think one of the real opportunities that happens is if someone could take the knowledge that they have between their ears and turn it into, let's say, a digital course. I'm a big fan of digital courses. Then they can build that once and sell it many, many, many times. So if someone's doing, coaching about real estate or coaching about making apparel and coaching about hunting, whatever, pick the topic. I seen someone make a digital course about how to make a bow, and they're making 6 figures selling this course. And this was 8 years ago, so it wasn't even popular back then. So you can really make a digital course about anything, but the cool thing about it, like I mentioned, is you can sell it multiple times. So you invest your 40 hours doing it. And then after that, someone goes through that course and they resonate with how you teach and who you are and your message. Then they raise their hand and say, dude, hey, I want more of what you got there, Luke. Now, if you do decide to start trading hours for dollars, you're doing it at a premium level. And you don't have to reteach them that stuff because you already set their baseline and you're just kind of continuing their journey on at the next level.
Now, if someone's never done that before, we don't have too much time to go into it, but how do you find out about, what do you charge for that course? And how long should it be? How do you distribute it? How do you get it seen by people?
That's
a lot of questions, but
there's a whole realm in that, and that's actually one of the things I teach entrepreneurs is like, here's how you go through this step by step, and there's a number of folks that teach the same thing. So it's about finding someone that you resonate with to take you through that. But basically, what you'll want to start doing, and I'll try and do this without babbling on too long, you'll want to start building your audience while you're building your course. Because if you wait to when your course is ready and say, okay, my course is ready, now I'm going to sell it to, I have no audience yet. And it's probably going to take you a month or two, right? Realistically. I mean, you could do it in a week if you're just going to, hunker down and do nothing but course building. You could probably bang it out pretty much in a week. But most of us have multiple things going on, right? We're helping other people. We're running our business. But so you're going to start building, keep building your tribe while you're building your course. And then just before your course is ready to hit the streets, so to speak, you're going to want to start delivering some messages in social media, if you have a podcast, in your podcast that relate to problems that your course will solve. Hey, are you tired of spending hours and hours and only getting X amount, stop trading those hours for dollars? Here's a great way to do it with a digital course. And here's kind of by the way, I have a course coming out in X amount of time that will teach you how to do that, right? And then you start going through the open cart phase where you sell your course. Now, some folks will do a permanent open cart. Some folks will do launches where the cart is only open for a certain period of time. So that builds in that scarcity. So we all know it's just a marketing tactic. And then 2 months later, they'll do it again, right? And that depends on how you're doing your course. Some folks, like myself, like doing the course along with some coaching. So, hey, I'm going to take you through this pretty complex thing. Here's the course, and I'm going to get online every Friday afternoon at 3:00. Come on, ask your questions. So that raises the value of your course because now they're like, oh gosh, not only do I get the course and I can go through it at my pace, but he's going to come online once a week for 4 weeks and give me one-on-one training, right? So again, and then on the back end of that are any upsells. You know, there are going to be problems that are going to come on board that folks are going to want you to help solve that could start a whole new, call it a mastermind or a group coaching opportunity, again, at that premium tier level. So, and to answer I think the another part of your question, what do you charge? What will the market bear? And I don't mean that from an arrogant standpoint, because you've spent whatever period of time building your knowledge and your expertise and when you go and you give a one-on-one coaching session, what are you charging for how long it takes for them to absorb the information? If it's only worth $97, then okay, $97 it is. But if you're really bringing them the value and they're going to be able to leverage this to generate income or really kick up the level of their business, maybe it's $19.97. You can look around in the marketplace and see if there are similar products, and you can see what they're using as a benchmark. That's definitely an opportunity. And then if you kick it up a notch and say, hey, all these other folks are charging you $19.97 and they give you this, I'm going to charge you $14.97 and I'm going to give you these extras. There's that marketing angle as well.
Right. Now, when I've created things in the past, I made the mistake of trying to find something that I thought would be saleable or appealing to a large number of people, but it wasn't really me. It wasn't really something I was into.
Yeah.
And I would procrastinate. It wouldn't really get done. But when I found my voice, as you put it, when I found my voice, and I was actually speaking authentically, and it was something that I was really into, really excited about, comes across in the content, right? So How does someone find their voice? Like, a lot of people starting out with this might think, well, should I do this? Should I do that? How do you find your voice?
I think you kind of answered the question in the asking of it. It's actually sitting down, and when I say sit down, this is not a 5-minute exercise, right? If you really want to crank this out, you want to sit down for about an hour or so, and maybe list out the topics that you're passionate about, right? And list them all. Step back for a minute and stop worrying about, can I make money doing this? Let's put that off to the side over here for a minute. Let's just talk about the things that Luke likes to do, right? Someone, and then I think another secondary question is, what are your friends and your colleagues and your peers often coming to you for advice on or asking for your help with, right? And quite often what I find is there's an intersection there. And inside that intersection is usually that gem of gold. And that gem of gold is usually something that the person that's going through this exercise just takes for granted. If I go back to my early days with my computer programming, I thought that was like simple. It was super easy, right? And I can even step back and say, because of my computer programming, it gave me a passion to go learn things like, I'm going to date myself, Lotus 1-2-3, Excel, Access databases, Paradox, all these different tools that were out there for data manipulation. And it was such second nature to me that when I would go show someone, I would really teach them kind of fast. They're like, stop. I have no idea what you just showed me. And I was going with the assumption that because it was easy for me, it was easy for them. So do not take these little things for granted. Maybe you're super awesome at changing car tires. I don't know, right? What is it about changing car tires that you find so easy? I mean, is there a trick to it? Is there a thing? Do you like working on cars? Do you like doing pinstriping? In my teen years, I was avid about stereo systems in cars. This was when stereo systems were huge, and they still are, right? But I found, because I was so geeky about it, my friends are always coming to me and say, dude, can you install my stereo into my car? I'm like, yeah, sure. It'll be, $100 or whatever it was. I enjoyed doing it and figured out, I could make money doing this at the same time. If you have that little skill like that, you can pass that knowledge along with little tips and little techniques that you've learned from your thousands of hours of doing it repetitively, and people will pay for that. Like I said, that lady was teaching people how to make bows, six figures. There was another young lady I learned about just last month, and she was teaching people how to do quilting. Now, mind you, she was 18 years old, and she was marketing to a market. Clearly, quilting is not highly populated by 18-year-olds. I'm just, unless the kids are gone somewhere, I have no idea. But she was engaging with a market much older, and she was able to connect with them just with her personality and the skill that she had gleaned from her short time. And they're eating up her products, and now she's doing like these little quilting masterminds. She's 19 now. What's up with that?
That's amazing. That's awesome. So you have a free gift for our listeners, but before I ask you about that, I got one more question for you. And
Sure.
You are a successful podcaster. You said you initially started in 2009. I actually started in 2006, and I quit in 2009, which is one of my regrets because it was just starting to get popular.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, and I left it for a decade. But tell us about podcasting. What makes you a successful podcaster? How do we grow our audience?
I think the first thing about being successful in podcasting, you know what, and in anything, is to be you. And I don't want to toss around the word authentic, because I think it gets a little bit abused. But if you just be yourself, then, are you going to collect everybody? No. I don't think you want to collect everybody, right? I think you want to collect with the people that click with who you are and the message that you want to share. So just get on there, and if you cuss like a sailor, go ahead, cuss like a sailor. Who cares? Right. If you're if you have these high Christian values, share your high Christian values. Yeah, some people will be turned away, some people won't, and those people that are not turned away are going to build this bond with you. And and you'll be able to take them along on your journey. And I think on top of that, while you're being you, just share. I'm learning about this along the way. Let me teach you what I've learned, and I'll bring folks on that are further ahead in their journey than either one of us are, and we'll both learn together. That's what I'm doing. I know I've been playing the game for a long time, but I know there are people way above me. We're talking about the David Meltzers and the Billie Jean Marketings of the world. They're way out there ahead of me. And, I've tried to bring them on the show and share their knowledge, and we both get to learn at the same time.
That's awesome. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about this amazing free gift for our listeners. It sounds really great. I might take you up on it myself, I think.
Sure. Absolutely. I want to do a two-part thing. One is I have this little, I'll call it a PDF. It's called the 6 C's of Entrepreneurship.
Okay. 6 C's of Entrepreneurship.
6 C's of Entrepreneurship. And it's kind of, it's based around the coaching model that I use when I coach entrepreneurs. And it's the basic tenets that we'll go through during their journey with me. And, I can certainly share them here real quick, and then they can go grab the PDF for more details. Perfect. But the 6 C's will be clarity, connection, communication, capitalization, commitment, and cultivation.
Okay.
And I think one of the big things you'll notice is that capitalization is not the first one. So many entrepreneurs want to get straight to making that money that they skip some of the key steps, and then they're wondering why I'm not making any money, right?
Right. Okay.
So they can grab that. Let me I want to make sure I give you the right link here. I have an easy link for it.
Sure. So that PDF will elaborate on those 6 C's.
Yeah, and I'll happily go into them now if you'd like.
Sure.
But I know we're... Sure, why not?
Might as well.
And just for clarity, the link to that is darkhorseschooling.com/6 C's of entrepreneurship. I
Okay.
know. Let's make it complicated, right?
Yeah.
All right. And
No
so
problem. Well,
obvious.
I'm going to put the link right in the show notes, too. So if
Perfect.
someone's on the treadmill,
Perfect.
all they got to do is tap that, and
Yeah,
super easy.
I do the same thing. That's perfect. And before I go into the 6 C's, the other part of the offer for your group is there's a coaching tab on the website, and anyone references this show, be happy. I'll jump on a call with them for an hour and help them map out their journey in wherever they're at. Dump some knowledge on them so that when we hang up from the call, they'll have some next steps. And if they want me to help them with them, that's fine too. If not, I want to deliver the value and help people get along in their destination.
Nice. Okay. So tell us about these 6 C's.
So the 6 C's, the clarity, I think, is always about the beginning, right? This is where we were just talking about, hey, we need to come up with that idea, where it is I want to go with. And you're going to get there through research and brainstorming so that you come up with a clarity of what it is you want to do, what it is you want to offer, and who your audience is, right? And then what we always know is, what problem are you solving for them? Are you helping them make a bow? Are you helping them get better at quilting? Are you helping them install a stereo? Whatever it might be. And then in connection, now that you know what problem you're solving and who you're solving it for, you want to go out, identify, find, and build a connection with your core audience, right? And then I think you even want to go a little bit deeper and identify those folks that you think would be your tribe. So for me, your core audience is that 10, 20,000 people that are out there that are going to resonate with your message. But inside of that are going to be those 100 people that are so much like you. They're like, dude, I feel you. I connect with you. Your beard rocks. I love the bald head, whatever it is, right? You want to build that connection with them. Not sell to them yet. You're not selling. You're just delivering that value. And that sweeps right into the third C, which is communication, right? So you're going to be connecting with them with your communication, sharing your story, establishing your credibility, and really delivering the value that you have to offer, right? And there's a problem-solving formula in there on how you can do that and build that into your copy, whether that copy is an elevator pitch, we hear used a lot, or a manifesto, whichever it is works for you. Now you've gotten all those kind of flowing. Now let's start talking about capitalization. How are you going to monetize all this, right? And like we were talking about earlier, how are you going to charge what you're worth, right? Just because everyone out there is doing the $47 challenge doesn't mean you need to go $47 if you're bringing them $900 worth of value, right? And this also goes into what we were talking about earlier. Stop trading hours for dollars. Start trading value for dollars.
Right.
And that's going to flow into the commitment, right? We're going to need this solid plan of action. You're going to have to hold yourself accountable. And so many times, the one person that's the easiest for us to lie to is ourselves. And we lose that commitment to our success. So have an accountability partner, whether that's a coach, a mindset group, an accountability group, whatever it is, someone that's going to help hold your feet to the fire and help you stay committed. And then finally is the cultivation, right? This is all about empowering our beliefs. And again, we were talking about this earlier with our mindset. We're going to have to overcome some doubt. We're going to have to overcome some procrastination. And this loops all the way back to the very beginning, because if you're teaching something that you're passionate about, the first time you hit that wall, that you stumble, you bumble, you trip, you fall, you face plant, and you will. It's not when, it's not if, it's when. The motivation you get by doing something you're passionate about and you're cultivating in your beliefs will help you stay inspired and keep moving you forward. Plus, you had that accountability partner or partners to help keep you moving. So these all work together to help keep you going.
That's fantastic. I'm going to download that right away.
Okay. All right.
That sounds really great. And when we finish this call, you can see there's a chat window and you can put the link right there just so I don't make a typo.
I'm pasting it in right now.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome. So, Tracy, it's been a real pleasure. I'm glad I got up early this morning to talk to you. Very interesting story. And you've got a lot of great stuff to teach about creating a product, which is, I think it's really timely. A lot of people are trying to figure out what they're doing with business and entrepreneurship, and it's shifted because of COVID. So I think that's really useful information. And your experience, really sheds a lot of light on the right way to do things. So,
well, I appreciate that. I just I try to bring the value wherever I can and help folks out. Sometimes folks are like, "Dude, you're giving away the farm." Okay, if I give away the farm, sometimes they'll come back to me and they'll buy the cows. I don't know.
Right. Very true. Very, very true. Well, thanks again for your time. And
my pleasure.
Wish you all the best, and I'll send you the link to the show as soon as it's ready.
Yeah. Absolutely. Keep me posted so I can share it with my folks and they can learn more about Luke in the process.
100%. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Newtown Big Dreams podcast with your host, Luke Menkes, and his authentic guests. And we love our listeners and hope you subscribe now to learn more about the amazing journeys of our incredible guests who relocated to find a new town, big dreams. And remember, make your dreams big.